Thank you very much for being here. Your love for children is a testament. I mean, you're giving a Saturday, giving your weekend to be here. And so that means a lot to me. Thank you. Thank you so much for your hunger and desire for our kids. It's something that is very dear to my heart, and so I'm very appreciative of that. Before I go into this, I want to say that when I'm talking about the facilities and things and everything that we're going to talk about in this first session, please understand. I don't want to be misunderstood. Please understand that because I'm going to. I've been told that I can be kind of forceful, kind of adamant about how important this is. So let me. So that I don't get misunderstood, let me establish right here up front, nothing will replace prayer and fasting for your children. Nothing will replace that. That is foremost and first. You have got to have prayer. You have got to have fasting, because that's what brings the anointing. This is necessary. These other things that we talk about are necessary components that can help. But first and primary is we must have fasting and prayer. In fact, that is so important to me. There is no substitute for that. It is so important to me on our team at Eastwood. For those maybe that you don't know, I was privileged to be children's pastor under Brother Merle Ewing at Eastwood for 25 years. And so when I talk about our team, we did this, we did that, that's what I'm referring to. But at Eastwood, at our team, every year they had to sign a 1-year commitment at the beginning of the year. And because number one, I'm not expecting them to lie to me and tell me, oh, I'll be here for the rest of my life. And then life happens, it changes. But also, if it was just 1 year and it didn't work out, they were giving me problems at the end of the 1 year. I say, thank you, that was great. go be an usher. No, but they would sign a commitment, and on that commitment form was you had to commit that you're going to pray every day for the children, that you're going to fast 1 day a week for our children's ministry. Now, you need to fast another day for your own spiritual walk with God, but you need to pick a day and fast 1 day a week. That is how important I understand that this really is. You cannot have an effective children's ministry, Sunday school, kids church, whatever program that you want to utilize. It will not be effective without fasting and prayer. You could be in the basement, and when I say this, I'm speaking from experience. You can be in a basement with no decorations, paint peeling off the wall, and see God move simply because you've had prayer and fasting. That is the key. That is primary. That is first. Okay? But once we have that established, there are some other things that we need to do so that we can implement, augment that. We can enhance, we can make it better so that when the kids come in, they will feel better connected. They will be more involved and because the more connected we have them and the more involved they are, the easier it is for them to receive the word of God, to feel that anointing to be. Because here's what's going to happen. When those kids walk in, before you say the first word, before you do anything, they're going to decide if they like it just by what they see. When they walk in and look. And so when they walk, now we use the word facility when we titled this because that kind of covers it all. If you're in a Sunday school room or if you're in an auditorium, if you're in the gym, you're in the Family Life Center, whatever facility, whatever room or setting that you're in, that we're going to deal with that. That's what we're talking about, is whatever that setting is that you're in. And so you have got to, when your kids come in, they cannot come in to just bare walls. They can't come because it's not going to speak to them. It's not going to connect with them. When you look at the Bible, if I ask you what is God, what is Jesus, and when you say, oh, he's omnipresent, he's omniscient, he knows everything, he's everywhere at the same time. And that's true. God is love. Oh, that's true. But I can't picture love. I can't picture omnipresence or omniscience. When we read the Bible, Jesus said, I am the bread of life. He gave us a picture. I am the good shepherd. Because we think in pictures. If I tell you think of love, you don't, what you think of is a picture maybe of a heart or a box of candy or flowers or maybe your spouse. You picture something and so we think in pictures. Kids are the same way. They need to come into a picture. They need to see something. There's got to be something there. And so that's what we're going to deal with here in dealing with our facilities. The thing is 50 years ago, we could have our kids come in and have a piece of flannel graph set up there. And some of you will remember, we had to cut out a baby Jesus in the manger and a little cut out of Mary and Joseph. And you stick that on the flannel graph and you tell the story and sit down and be quiet and listen. And here's our deal. Well, that worked 50 years ago, but that's not going to work today. The kids that we're trying to minister to, they live in a much different world now. They are bombarded with video and these games and continual action and color and all of this. And that's what we're in competition with. And so we cannot expect them to come in and sit down and look at this little piece of paper and listen to me talk. That's not going to keep their interest. And the thing is, yeah, but we're not supposed to be entertaining. No, but if I don't have their interest, then I can't get God's word into them. Okay. And so we've got to create a picture for when they come in. They need to see something. Your facilities need to speak to them on a child level. Now we're going to talk about, I understand that there's limitations that we have. Some of us, maybe you're in a shared space. Like I said, maybe you're in the Family Life Center, in the gym. And so you've got to go in and you're only in there. And then when you're done, the youth are going to come in and use it for Friday night service or the Spanish work is going to come in and use that same room and stuff. There are ways that you can still do this, to use whatever your facility is to do your best to reach for our kids. Okay. So this is going to be trying to find those ideas and things that we can use, resources that we can have to help us to get there. The thing is when you have your backdrop, let's talk high level first. Okay. The first thing you're going to need to do is you need to picture it first. Get a picture in your mind of what you want. You cannot implement things. You can't begin to go and look. So to do that, you need to determine your theme. Start with your theme. You say, wait a minute, I thought we were talking about the Bible. Let me help you. The more interesting you make it, the more curious you make it, the better they will receive it. You can teach the Bible so creatively that it just draws these kids in, and it's just like, oh my goodness! And they're telling their friends, it's so incredible, it's so wonderful. You say, oh well, I'm not creative. Okay, if you tell me that you're not creative, you just said you do not have the Holy Ghost. We believe in one God, yes? The one God that created all of the universe, that created everything that we see, that created all of us with all of our differences. That is the God that lives inside of me. I am creative. I may not be creative as someone else, but I do have creativity in me. And the fact of the matter is, if you will begin to use what God has given you, He will multiply and it will grow and it will get better. And I look back at some of our first backdrops and some of our first decorations from, in the 90s. And I look back at some of those pictures and it's like, oh my goodness, wow, that was, look at how far God has brought us since then. You just begin to use the creativity that God has given. But get creative when we're teaching the Bible. And I think I have it later in my notes, but let me just say, for example, we wanted to teach on the children of Israel coming out of Egypt and dealing with the plagues. Well, that's, that's cool. You got frogs, you got lice, you got blood, you got, all of this. Okay. But man, how can we do this in a different way? And so we did it with Egypt, ER. And so it was a modern day medical facility, hospital, set in Bible time Egypt. They had the Bible time costumes and Bible time setting, but yet they had tools from today's hospitals that they were able to use. And as the plagues happened, they came to the hospital with their, because of the plague. Oh, you came in, I got this frog in my throat. Well, it's because, there's frogs all over the land and stuff like that. Get creative in the way that you teach them. Make it more interesting. Help it stick with them. I've got kids that are adults now that come to me still. Oh man, I just love, man. We were sitting in church and they started reading about that and they started reading about one of the plagues and my mind just went back to seeing them sitting in the hospital with the broken leg and the flies and create pictures that will stick with them and will help the Word of God to stay with them. Get creative. So the first thing you got to do is determine the theme. And your theme might be, it could be pirates. It could be a castle, medieval. It could be an island. They're cast away on an island. You come up with a theme that you're going to tell, whatever the series is, the Bible stories that you're going to tell, or maybe you want to deal with Bible life lessons, whichever it is. First, determine your theme, and then determine the setting. Okay. Now, let me say this. I recommend that you don't go more than 3 months without changing your theme. Kids need to have variety. You need variety. Jesus made us all different. We love variety and you need variety. Kids need variety. Don't leave the same decorations up for more than 3 months, because what's going to happen is it's going to get boring and you might as well just have paint peeling off the walls. It's not going to keep their interest. Every 3 months change. You say, well, we've got this huge facility and that would just be, okay, just change a part of it. Change this part of it and so that to keep it fresh and keep it different. And then after 3 months, change this next part over here and then change this, but keep it fresh, keep it different. And we'll talk about here in a little bit about how can we do it cheaply or inexpensively maybe and things or resources in that. But don't go more than 3 months. That's my recommendation. You say, well, where do you base that on? Again, 25 years children's pastor at Eastwood. And even longer than that, 20-something years evangelizing, Sunday school teacher since I was 12. So, I mean, there's plenty of background for that. 3 months is about the limit that you can do. So after you determine your theme, then you determine the setting. So let's say the theme is pirates. You want to teach it with pirates. And here's the thing. Use something that the kids are interested in right now, something that's got their interest, that they're kind of, you hear them talking, you hear what they're talking about with their friends, what they're excited about, and then use that. Get something that's going to appeal to them, that's going to connect with them. And so let's say you have your theme as pirate. Well, now you need to determine the setting, and the setting is what goes with that. How do we present that theme? So maybe we want it to be realistic, or maybe we want it to be cartoon-like. Okay. Or maybe you want a particular time period that you want to use that. Early 1800s, early 1600s, Bible times. Find some way like we did with the Egypt ER. It was modern day hospital, but it was set in the setting was ancient Egypt. And so you merge these conflicting things. It makes it more interesting. It gives it more depth. It makes it so the kid is sitting there and it kind of intrigues them. Okay, this is different. I need to pay attention. What are they going to say? Or we don't normally, not necessarily that they're going to know. It's not like not every child is going to know. Oh, they didn't have heart monitors in ancient Egypt. They may not be able to, but in their back of their mind, there's something that's put in there. It's just like, man, that just doesn't seem like it goes together. This is really different. This is intriguing. Remember what we're competing against. We need to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to keep their attention. So determine your theme, determine your setting, and then we can start looking at building or designing or putting together what our decorations are going to be in our facility, whether it's in your Sunday school room or in your children's sanctuary, whatever that facility is. what we can do? Now we've got a direction that we're going with. Okay. So what I do is before I build it, I always like to draw it out, and I'm not that very good of an artist, so it's kind of stick people type drawing. And but I had a great team that could look at that, and boy, they interpreted it into some amazing things. But you want to draw it out so that number one, you can say, okay, yep, this is what we're going to work with. And then it shares it with everybody that's going to be helping. Everybody's got the same vision. Everybody's got the same idea so that we can work together. Let me say this. When you're getting help, when you have people helping you, if they don't do it exactly the way that you do it, it's okay. All right. I've seen where that can really cause some problems. If you know what, it's okay if it's not exactly the way that you would do it, as long as it's still good. Use it. Number one, it helps them to feel a part. They get to have a part in your class, in your setting, in the work. You're not doing everything yourself. Believe it or not, you cannot do it all yourself. Trust me. You may be able to do it for a little while, but after a while, life is gonna happen, and you can only do it so long, so much. Hear the voice of experience. Get as much help as you can right from the beginning. Get used to letting people help you and letting them do it their way. If it's a little bit different, that's okay. It's going to be, and oh my goodness, please don't come behind them and straighten it out afterward. Especially if you're married to them. Voice of experience again. You let them be them. Jesus made them the way that he did, and he put them on your team so that you can have some variety, not just some help, but you can have some. You're not perfect. All of your ideas are not necessarily the best. Use everything that Jesus has brought into your circle to be able to be able to, tools that he has brought for you to be able to use. Let them be a part. Let them help you. Let them do some work. So now we get to build it. Now, let's look at resources that we're going to need. First, we'll look at resources for you to do your research. For when you've got your ideas, where are we going to find, how can we get, kind of flesh these ideas out? So I've got my theme, and I've got the setting of where this theme is going, how we're going to portray this theme. Now, what can we use? Okay. A lot of times the budget affects how, where we go and what kind of things we can accomplish and how far we can get with this. And so, some of the things that one of the first places we always hit was Dollar Tree, because, for $1.20, when that's $1.25 now, you can pick up, so many available resources. The ivy and plants and greenery that you can reuse over and over and over. Man, that's just wonderful. The Dollar Tree has it all the time. We would go to Dollar Tree first, and then our next stop was always Hobby Lobby. Y'all help me. I'm pushing for them to bring back that 40% off one item coupon. They took it away from us, and boy, we hammered that thing to death. I'd go in and get one item, and then Sister Mary would go in and get one item, and then Andy would go in and get one item. But Oriental Trading is another resource that you can get a lot of good, inexpensive resources from, and they're also a good thing sometimes when we're trying to come up with a theme, trying to come up with brainstorming and okay, we're going to talk about the plagues. What kind of a theme can we use? Oriental trainings are great, and you don't have to get their catalog. You can go online and just look at orientaltraining.com and go through. They have a section titled themes, and just go through there and say, oh yeah, here's a good theme. That's because they've done the research. They've got all these things that interest kids, and so that's a great one. Any party store like Party City's closing down a lot of their stores, but Party City or some of those party supply stores. Used to, Amazon wasn't too good, but they're starting to get better. as far as having resources that you can, things that you can find to start implementing things. So that's where you can start looking and get an idea. After you've got your theme and then you've got your setting, and then you go, okay, what kind of things can we incorporate this? Let me mention this. Really, you're not just a Sunday school teacher, or you're not just a kids ministry, children's church teacher, or that's not your temporary Sunday only occupation. Okay, this should be a part of your everyday life. People ask me all the time, man, where did you find that hat? Where did you find that big bow tie? Where did you find this prop? Where did you find that prop? You know what? I don't remember, because it's something that we're walking through the store, or we're walking through the airport, or we're walking through the mall, or we're just anywhere, and all of a sudden see something, say, oh wait, hey, that would interest a kid. That it's something that you need to internalize, and it becomes a part of your everyday life everywhere. And the thing is God then begins to increase your creativity, because the more you use it, the more it multiplies. And so when you're walking through the store and you're seeing things, you're doing your grocery shopping, and be open to the idea. Let the Holy Ghost speak to you. Hey, that would make a great object lesson right there. I can pull that and I can tie that to this Bible story, or I can tie that to this life principle, and begin to let the Holy Ghost work with you every day. It needs to be not just something that I prepare for on Saturday night before I'm, oh, we got Sunday school tomorrow. Okay, let me. No. This needs to become part of your life. If you really want to serve Jesus, if you want to impact the kids that He is trusting you to minister to, it needs to become part of your everyday life. Sorry, that's not part of this, I know, but it's part of my heart. Paper or plastic? Cheap or expensive? Here's the thing. You can save money. You can buy it cheap, but you'll probably only use it one time. There's some things that are less expensive sometimes that we've been able to use maybe twice. If you spend a little bit more money, you can reuse it for multiple things. However, let me caution you, make sure that you have some storage space somewhere that you can keep the stuff. At our church, our storage place was conveniently upstairs behind the choir loft, and it was conveniently, it was only 37 steps up, and so yes, it was wonderful. Wherever you can have storage, but you're going to need some storage. The number of times that busted shins and legs and stuff hauling walls up and down those stairs. So you've got to keep that in mind. But the thing is you can reuse it. It's better for your money. You're getting more use out of the resources the money that you've spent. And so keep that in mind. So there were several options. You can make it portable, you can make it semi-portable, or you can make it fixed. Now, and we're going to talk about ways to do it more expensively or less expensively in all of these categories: portable, semi-portable, or fixed. But the first thing that's going to determine that is your space. If you have a Sunday school room that's yours and it's for your age group and no one else is going to use that, and you can leave your decorations up, then you can have fixed decorations. Well, there's some options that you can do that we can't use if in other settings. If you're in a shared space where you've got to put up your decorations and take them down, put them up before service and then or class, and have your session, and then take it down and pack it away and until next week, and then bring it back. There's resources for that as well. Both expensive and cheap. And so the first thing is it fixed? Is it portable? Does it need to be portable, semi-portable? And so so that's the first thing to determine is what type of wall or what type of setting you have. Then the next one is the materials that you can use. Now, for your portable or semi-portable, You can use wooden walls, and we've got now. Oh, let me say this: on the last page of that handout, there's a QR code to a folder of resources. Excuse me. You can scan that, and it'll bring you to a Dropbox folder that's got all kind of resources in there. There's a page in there that gives you links to a lot of this that I'm talking about. It gives you the links to Oriental training and all. I forgot to mention that earlier. All of those places that you can go to get the ideas and things of themes and things like that. There's a document in there for that. There's one in there about these walls. So. When you're building, when you're getting your decorations, you can put decorations up. If you're in a fixed place, you can put decorations up on your walls, and then when the 3 months is done, take it down, throw it away. But if you want to reuse it, there's things that you can use, and that's where we're talking. That's what I'm talking about right now. Is things that we can reuse that you can build. You can build the wall out of lumber, but there's other ways you can build it out of PVC pipe. Lattice work, insulation. Insulation makes is great for building sets and drops. You can get it at Lowe's, Home Depot, any of your big box hardware stores, and it's got it's styrofoam, and you peel off the plastic and on one face, and then you can paint it. You can carve into it. You can, and then it's real lightweight. It's easy to carry up and down 37 steps. It lasts. You can reuse it over and over and over. And so, it's a great resource and it doesn't cost a lot of money, and it's something that you can use. So there's links in there for that. For the semi-portable walls, we built walls. In that resource folder, there's a layout, a diagram how to build it. We built walls out of a 4x8 sheet of plywood with 2x4 or 2x2 framing, and they had doors, they had windows. We could walk in and out of doors. We could reposition them and put them together in different combinations. But we found that it was so convenient because you could paint it, or you could at Lowe's has these hardware stores, they have sheets of plywood that make it look like brick, or make it look like wood grain, or make it look like bathroom tile, and you just fix it to it. And so again, all of this is in that resource deal. We're going to look at some of these in just a moment. And but those walls, we had them where we could we stand them up and link them together, and then there was a little leg that kicked off on the back, and with a post on it that we could put weights on it to make it stay standing up. And so that way we were reusing the resource over and over and over, one-time expense, and then we're able to reuse it, but yet we're able to keep making it different. Every 3 months, we could change it out, make it a different set, so that when the kids came in, it was like, oh, wow, this is something new. What are we going to do here? What is this going to be? And on that post, we would put dumbbell weights, that you can get them real cheap at Goodwill right now. Everybody got a bunch of weights at the beginning of the year. They've quit, so it's all at Goodwill. So you can go to Goodwill and pick them up real cheap, and use that to help to keep it up. We use PVC pipe and put material over the pipe. That's a little bit more portable. You can set it up in a few minutes, 20 minutes or so, and then take it down and pack it away for if you're in that shared space. Okay. All of this is ways that you can make sure that your facility is going to be enticing, interesting for the kids. Okay. Now, so let's look at this. Do I need to move this so that, can you see the screen behind me? Not this backdrop. Let me pull this over. I don't know that we can see that. I didn't think of that. Let me see that first picture, sir, from up there. Cardboard is cheap. Cardboard you can get for free normally. Now, sometimes it can be a little hard unless you have someone that works at one of these big box stores that'll hold on to it for you. With this recycling stuff, it's a little bit harder to come by. But be looking. It's so, and cardboard you'll be able to use probably a couple. Now, you may only get 2 or 3 uses out of it, but you can use it. But it's cheap. It's easy to acquire. But be looking. I say this because we went to a church here in Ohio, come to think of it. And we flew in and we were doing VBS, and the pastor and his wife said, we waited till you got here to go get supplies for decorations. We didn't know, and so we said, okay, Dollar Tree, that's where we go first. So we go to Dollar Tree, and we're to go looking, and we're going to walk in the store, and they had a pallet of cardboard boxes sitting there. And I was like, wow. And they were bundled like, I don't know, 5 or 8 boxes strapped together. And so I went and asked, I said, is it $1.25 or $1 for each box or $1 for the whole bundle? And they said, we just moved into this building. We moved from another building, and those are just the leftover boxes. We're just going to throw those away. Hey, we'll throw them away for you. We had a whole pallet of cardboard boxes. So there's always, keep your eyes open and be looking. It doesn't hurt to ask. People will, and not only that. Often we've talked about, hey, would you happen to have any boxes in the back? No, we're having a VBS. We're having a children's revival. We're decorating for our Sunday school class for our kids because we really love our kids. Our kids are very important to us. I don't know. People, they share in that concern for children. Oh, well, here, let me help you out. You know what? We've got this, we've got that. Don't be afraid to ask and let God bless them by letting them bless you. So cardboard is cheap. It's easy to come by, but now you're only going to get a couple of uses out of it. Something else that's cheap and easy to get. The next picture, I think. Yes, it's kind of hard to see, but this was the best picture that I could find of it. Underneath all that greenery is a cave made out of paper, and what we did was we just had some cardboard boxes that we stacked up, and then took paper and wrinkled it up and laid it over that. The paper you get in a roll from the big box hardware stores, and it's it's paper that you lay down so that when you're painting, it doesn't make a mess on the floor. But you can take that, and now it's normally single use. I was too cheap for it to be single use. So after we'd get done, we'd flatten it back out and roll it back up and use it again. But you can, it does some amazing decorations. I think maybe the next picture, I'm trying to remember what pictures we have here. Let me see that. Let's see. Yes, that tree. So that tree is made out of that same paper, some PVC pipe to make it stand, to give it the bones, and then just took that paper and folded it and wrinkled it and got it around that PVC pipe, hung some of that Dollar Tree ivy off of it, and a very inexpensive decoration, but yet big and decisive. Kids come in and go, wow, look at that. That's really impressive. Not a lot of money, but yet it was very impactful, and we were able to reuse it over and over and over again. The next picture, I don't remember. Yes, that pink that you see, that is a coral reef that we made out of the same paper. Spray painted it, wrinkled it up, put some glitter on it, and put it, and you can tell by the young man standing there, the size of that. It was quite large. It was quite a lot to it, but yet it wasn't that expensive simply because of the resource that we were using. There are ways that you can creatively decorate, that you can build your decorations, your set for your classroom, whatever your facility. You can make it interesting and colorful and enticing, and making them wonder, oh, what is this going to be? That young man, he's talking on his cell phone. That was a fun one, under the sea. So, but now sometimes we have the ability to invest a little bit more so that we can reuse something. No. I think maybe, wait, let me show one more picture. I think there might be one more picture of the cheap stuff. Yeah. So it's kind of hard to see on this, but if you can look at the gray that's on each side and over the top and down this other side, and then on the wall behind, all of that gray brick stuff, that is called a scene setter. And used to, you could only get it at Party City, but now Amazon's carrying it, and even Oriental training has some of it, but what it is it's a plastic. Now, this is going to be something that you're going to probably put up one time, and then when you take it down, you can't use it anymore because you have to put double stick tape or something like that to hold it up, and so when it comes down, it tears. It's a one, but you can get it in very colorful, very much easier than painting something or building, and the scene's already there. They've got every possible theme you can think of, Western and beachfront, and I mean just all kinds of things, and so. Typically, it's something that you would put up for like a kid's birthday party, and you want to decorate one wall for a birthday party. So it's one of those single-use type things, but it's very colorful, it's very useful, and it's really still not that. It's not too expensive. It is a one-time use normally, and so you can use. But if you can spend a little bit more money, then you can do something that you can reuse. Then let's go to the next castle. That was one castle that we do with the scene setters, but then the next castle, this one was made out of cloth, a gray fabric. Over to this left side, you can probably see the white that's there on the back side of it. That was the PVC pipe frame that we would put it up with. And now this was a castle that we built that we were able to reuse. In fact, that was our first castle that we traveled with because we could take the pipes and take them all apart, put them in a suitcase, fold up the material. Now, the castle was just gray cloth that we drew outlines of every little brick and then painted it. And it took a little bit more work, but it was something that we could use and reuse and fold up and take it. So, again, if you have somewhere to store it, if you have somewhere to put it, or if you're in a shared space and you need to be able to put something up and down, there's ways to do it where you can keep your resources and reuse them. Then we had another castle. This one used this one, you can tell that's a man standing up in the top part there, a man down in the stalk down here. There was a man, it was actually a 2-story that was in our church there at Eastwood. By the way, Brother Smith, doesn't this remind you? Yep, this is just like our old Eastwood sanctuary used to look just like this. But the light's right there. But 2-story, that was a 2-story castle. Now that wasn't something you can pack up and move to the next place. That is the insulation styrofoam. And we were able to peel that plastic off and then paint it. And to paint that, now there is on hgtv.com. hgtv.com. I don't know if I put that in those notes. That is a wonderful resource where we learn how to paint to make it look like brick or to make it look like wood grain and they can, on that website, they have got incredible amount of tools there that will show you the easy ways that you can take and even the type of, depending on the material that you're painting, how you can make it. It's called faux painting, F-A-U-X, faux painting. And you can make something look like wood or make it look like brick, make it look like, and it gives you step-by-step ways to do it so that you can do it. You can do this, anybody. I'm telling you, there are resources now that you can utilize that can make it so that it just speaks to your kids when they walk in. You can do this. Now, that's not exactly portable. That's pretty much. What's our next picture? I don't have it in my notes here. I'm not. Okay, so these are those semi-portable walls that I was telling you about. This is made out of the plywood, and if you'll look right over here on the right side, this with the beige and the crisscross things on it, that was a doorway. Behind the silver with the 2 shields, that was a window. But we would put those panels together in a particular arrangement, change the front of it, and we had a new set. The next picture shows us where we changed all of that. Go ahead. Now you can see the window over here, the door over here. We put up some plastic and construction paper on there, or actually that's a tablecloth. Yeah, the blue is those dollar tablecloths and some balloons and stuff. You can and so it's the same. It's the same pieces of wood. It's the same walls, but just decorated a little bit differently. And we've got a whole different set. We've got a different theme with a different setting, and the kids are keeping interested. It's something that they're going to learn. They're going to enjoy and get connected with. But then again, that's semi-portable. That's if you can leave it up week to week. That's not something you're going to want to have to change. Now that's where we have this thing, and that's what I put this up. This is what we travel with now. And it's really not that expensive. This stand is like $65-$70, something like that. Thank you. It's like $65-$70, something like that. It's a one-time purchase. We use it over and over and over. In that resource link is a place that tells you where we get all of the resources for this. What we do is we find a picture of you see that this one is a cartoon. On the backside, I have a different type of set, because depending on what we wanted for our setting, our theme, this one is not cartoon. This is an actual picture. Okay. Oh. An actual picture, because we wanted a mountain and we wanted it a little bit more realistic. What we do is we find the picture that we like on Shutterstock, that we're going to, that has a high enough resolution. And again, all of this is in that resource link, the details about all of that. And then there's a place called Banners on the Cheap, and they print it right on. This is a fabric. So it folds up. It's lightweight. It's easy. When we get them, they put the grommets in it. And so then we just take some bungee cords and put it at the corners, stretch it out, put the post up. It takes us about 15 minutes to put it up, a full backdrop to put it up. And we've got a whole new set. It's something that's very portable. If you're in a shared space, a gym or something like that, you can't say, "Oh, well, we're in this shared space. I guess we can't decorate." Oh, yes, you can. You can do something like this. Put it up 10, 15 minutes before your class. Do your class, have your service, whatever. Take it down. It packs up real light. We fly with two of them. We've got one in the children's that we used last night in the children's service. And so, we fly with them. They're lightweight. They're easy to pack away. You do have resources that you can utilize. Whatever your setting is, there's something that you can use. Okay. Of course. And so now I will say this: when we print ours, we always find something that's pretty generic. We don't get things that are particular, like when we did, I talked about Egypt ER. We wouldn't put a hospital scene. It was just kind of generic. You put a generic background so that we can just change what's in front of it, and we have a whole new set that we can reuse this for other themes, other ideas. We just change what's in front of it. And that brings me to the next part, is the depth of your setting, okay? Depth is everything. You cannot expect your kids to be fully engaged and connected with just your decoration on the wall, a picture on your wall, and that's it. Think about this. When you walk into your house, in your house, you'll have a couch and a chair and, things that you need to sit on, a table to eat at. Those are things that you function with. But that's not all that's in your house. You have a family picture on the wall. You may have, a decoration over here. You have a lamp that you really don't need, but it looks nice. You may have a potted plant over in the corner. That's what makes it home. That's what gives you comfort. And kids need that too. They don't need to walk into your classroom and just see a picture on the wall and that's it. There needs to be some depth. There needs to be, as you could see, I'm sorry, that picture, I thought it was still up there. As you could see in that picture, there's table and a rug and a little table over there. They weren't using it for part of their dramatized lesson or whatever, but it's part of the set. The next picture, I think, gives us more of that. You have to have depth. That's some of that insulation We didn't even paint that. We just peeled the plastic off and stood it up. Hang some curtains on it and Dollar Tree ivy. What's the next picture? I'm sorry. There we go. You have to have something in there. Remember the big castle. It wasn't enough just to have a big foam castle standing up there. We had the pop-up tent with a table and food on the table and things that she was selling. That she was the owner of the Circle K and at the castle. And so you have to have depth to your set. You say, well, what about even with the portable one? I think the last picture, is it right? The next picture? Yep. You see, that is two of these backdrops right here. But with the table, the bird stand, the little stools that are tree trunks and that, you have to add depth to your setting. Windows, doors, lights, all of these kinds of things to provide more effect, to make it more believable. Not just things that you can interact with, but it doesn't, not necessarily that you're going to use. Some of it you can use, some of it it can just be there. In this particular one, this was a medieval thing that we did last year, I believe. We did this. We had this in Kids Zone. I tell you what, the kids on that tree right there, on that tree, that's a coat rack that Sister Marilyn turned into a tree. And because it would come apart and we could fly with it. But she found these birds on there that when they're motion sensed, they chirp. Oh man, those kids lost their minds on that stuff. Especially when we're doing action songs and the birds are, they love that. Everything that we can do. And remember, I said we need to change things. We need to keep it interesting. Keep it, every 3 months you need to change it if it's going to be up there. But even more than that, I would recommend that with the front things, the things that you put out there, change some of that even more often than once every 3 months. And let me give this as an example. A couple of years ago, we did a caveman deal, and we had dinosaurs, blow-up dinosaurs on the platform. And so at the first service, I would tell them, okay, look, how many dinosaurs, who can count how many dinosaurs are on the platform? And of course, they're all trying to count and everything. Well, we also had some dinosaur eggs on the platform. And so they would count. And of course, nobody got the answer right the first time. And so then I was able to point out, no, you missed. Look, there's a dinosaur egg right here and a dinosaur egg right here. They're dinosaurs. Just because they're not born yet doesn't make them not a dinosaur yet. And then I was able to teach them, just because you weren't born, as soon as you were in your mama's tummy, you were a baby. You were a human being. And so we're able, let me say this. Stop being scared of teaching our kids what they need to hear. We need to deal with abortion. We need to deal with this with this gender euphoria and all of that kind of stuff, and kids telling them that they need to change and all. Hit that head on. Don't be afraid of dealing with that. The enemy is bombarding them with that kind of stuff. Don't be afraid of facing the devil with that. Help our children. Equip them. In last night's service, I told them again, if God created you a boy, you're supposed to be a boy. If God created you a girl, you're supposed to be a girl. Don't let anybody tell you different. We need to stand up for our kids. Sometimes I think we try to, I don't want to, I've got to be careful. No. The enemy's not being careful. We need to equip them the best that we possibly can. And so I use that. Hey, you missed this. And so then before the next service, we would add a couple of eggs or take some away, change the dinosaurs around and everything. Then as soon as the kids come in, they're involved. They're looking, okay, I gotta count. I gotta see. I gotta be, and it pulls them into the lesson. It pulls them to what we're doing. Okay. But let me say, everything that you do, you need to be teaching. Every element of your service, every part of your Sunday school class, everything needs to be teaching. If you're playing a game, you need to be teaching. I don't care if it's just you might win, you might lose. I mean, that's teaching them. They need to hear that. We never play a game where everybody wins. That hurts our kids. We need to teach them. You sometimes you're going to lose. You know what? You don't want to lose. Fight harder, work harder, be better. Everything that we do, we should be teaching our kids. And so this is always that we can, and you can do that with your facility. You need to start that from the moment that they walk in. Make sure that you're incorporating things that are going to engage them and connect them and are going to impact them and draw them in, so that when they get in there and then they're, oh man, this is interesting. This has got to see, man, what is this going to be? Their hearts are open. Their minds are listening, and they're ready for God to talk to their hearts. I hope that something I have said has helped you today in this and in helping us to prepare our facility to make us more effective in ministering to those that God has trusted us to minister to. Thank you very much.